Well, the good news is we're going to be done with the dark cave at the end of this clip. The bad news is that the entire clip is going to be us still working our way through the cave. Again, that kind of makes me nervous for when I do other role-player games with a random encounter mechanic. Certainly doesn't feel quite so annoying when I'm sitting down and playing it instead of trying to comment on the footage. And again, the fact that we're not in danger of dying and that the fights are pretty much just fights for the sake of fighting, regardless of if it's a trainer or a wild one, well, it's hard to get invested in any of the fights in this clip. It probably doesn't help that we've got the occasional spiteful jackass who decides to blow himself up just to slow us down some more. If nothing else, these caves are good for grinding your levels up. You don't even have to go out of your way to grind in them. Just try to go from one side to the other and you'll end up stronger by the time you make it. Your sanity might be a lost cause, but then I'm not all that sure I came here with sanity in the first place. Wonder if I'm gonna manage to have some level 27 members of the team by the time we get to the other side. At the very least, the encounter rate and the sheer size of these caves certainly makes that feel pretty possible. You know, I'd probably have a line about how relieved we are to talk to a human around here, but that would be assuming the humans outside of the gyms actually matter. Please don't tell me that Onyx knows self-destruct as well. Okay, we're somehow expecting Phyllis to be able to resist rock moves, but we can work with this. Guess this guy must like rock snakes. Kind of a shame that the only thing I like about them is their appearance. For half a second there, I thought his entire team would be all Onyxes. Ah well, no need to get Phyllis out of this fight when he's our only absolutely dedicated anti-rock Pokemon at this point. I'm sorry, but you're asking the wrong person here. We've been trying to get out of here for a while, and I've got no idea how much further we have to travel before we're gone. I wasn't aware I was walking into a coven of some kind, though I suppose a dark, monster-infested cave is as good a place as any for a cult to meet up. Not really an anti-rock Pokemon, but, well, I think Neo needs a few more chances to both level up his score and its actual level. Was wondering when one of these guys would throw a Graveler at us. After all, we have one at this point. Oh, you bastard son of Crazy Ivan and a Hollywood effects artist. You'd think I'd have remembered running into so many explosive pricks in these caves, considering how many years I've been going through this cave occasionally. But then, it's not like I've ever LP'd this game before, and I have a different mindset when I'm looking at the footage after the fact than when I'm actually sitting down and playing the game. At the very least, I have no concern when I get knocked out when actually playing, but here I'm going, oh god, I'm getting taken out while on screen! Oh, I agree, it feels pretty long, but at least I can fast forward to lessen the pain at least a little. Okay, good to know that Dragon Rage isn't resisted by rock. Still would have liked to have a water type move for our water type on the team. But I'm pretty sure the only water move I'll ever give a Gyarados in any of the games in all these years is Surf. And again, since many of the earlier generations the TMs weren't reusable, I end up being too cautious about when to use them. At the very least, Bubble Beam would have been pretty solid on both Nim and Takanabori at the very least at this stage of the game. But we can only teach it to one. And since I'm trying to think more long term, neither of the Pokemon that are going to end up getting it, because Nim isn't going to be part of the team at the end, and Takanabori is going to get the much better Surf move later on. Maybe when I get around to the next generation, I shouldn't be quite so far into the pre-planning on what I'm going to have and what moveset Pokemon will have. I'll still limit myself to Pokemon that didn't feature especially prominently in the red and blue teams when I get to Crystal, with the notable exception of Zubat. With the sheer number of Pokemon in the game, that can't be too difficult to pull off, can it? I can't think of a single Onix that has actually tried to use a move like Wrap against us. Now I can't help trying to imagine a massive rock snake trying to strangle our massive sea serpent, and that would have been totally awesome to actually see. Unfortunately, I doubt the Pokemon Company will ever let that sort of animation happen in any of the games. I just do not have enough faith in them to imagine them actually doing high-quality animations. Sure, it'd be a pain in the ass to pull it off for the massive number of Pokemon in the franchise at this point, and coming up with how each one would do each move to each different looking type, but they've long passed the point where I can give them any sympathy for that, especially since one of the things they claimed when making Sword and Shield was that they were removing a number of older Pokemon so they'd be better able to work on the visuals for the ones that were included. But what we got for visuals in that main title on the Nintendo Switch looked in many ways worse than what we got for a side title on the Nintendo 64. That is just obscene. And oh, before I forget, yes, I did see the Onix that actually hit us with a Wrap in this fast-forwarded footage. That makes the random mountain guy's comment about them the only bit of NPC advice that felt like something we hadn't already learned by the time someone decided to tell us about it. Very impressive for him. As usual, Marbleback against another rock type is a bit of a slowdown for us. Ah well, it's not like we're in any hurry. Especially when I'm probably gonna go back to the Pokemon Center soon. Probably overkill against a Zubat, but it's not like there's anything else around here I'd be all that tempted to send Rock Throw at. It is just too inaccurate for anything other than trying to get a super effective hit. Huh. I had a perfect 50% health there. Didn't think we'd be that on the dot. Just need to heal, save, and get back into the cave for another try to the other side. Maybe it's the fact that I keep having to go back to the Pokemon Center that makes this cave and Mount Moon feel like such a pain in the ass to go through. Seriously, When you have a high random encounter rate and a good number of non-random encounters in the same location, maybe it's not such a great idea to make absolutely every move the player character can do have limited ammunition. You're never gonna run into this many enemies in a quick succession in a Fire Emblem game or something like that, after all. I know, completely different genre, but I feel like the point still stands there. Seriously, the random encounter rate just seems pretty high considering many of the mechanics in this game. When we're grinding, that kind of thing is actually appreciated, but when we aren't, then it's pretty damn annoying to deal with. And while there are items in this game to increase or decrease the encounter rate as you want, for one thing, I don't think they're available in stores just this far into the game at the moment. And for another, until we beat the Elite Four, we don't really have the chance to earn money all over the place like in a lot of other role-player games. We can only gain money by beating trainers who we can only defeat once before they're no longer a source of income, and also a source of experience, or by selling items that we find along the way. Whereas the Elite Four, we could challenge over and over again. When you've gotten to the point that you don't need an income for much other than to make your team stronger for competitive play. And I somehow doubt anyone's using the absolute original Pokemon generation for competitive play anymore these days. I'm pretty sure they've been using Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for that sort of thing. Though I suppose I could be wrong. It's not like I pay all that much attention to what's going on in the player versus player side of the Pokemon community. So when I was actively trying to get one just for the hell of it, they were rare. But now that I've effectively given up on ever getting one, we're practically tripping over Onixes. I would say that's just Arceus being a bit of a dick to me, but again, the Pokemon God wasn't thought of this early in the series. I wonder, when we get that far into the series, will I be satisfied with the in-game world building? Sure, this is the absolute first game in the series, and they are fully allowed to not have too much of an idea of how the overall world works and how to make it really feel alive. Doesn't change the fact that I still manage to feel like we're pretty isolated in this world, even as we're talking to another person. By the way, lady, if we had enough lighting to see the ground properly in here, we wouldn't see any twigs despite all the mountaineers in this cave. I'm pretty sure that would be more attention to detail than this series can actually pull off, especially this early on. Right, that's 20 for Neo so far and 245 for the team as a whole. Assuming, of course, that I haven't miscounted at some point. That rock throw was most definitely overkill, but then I wasn't actually expecting to land the first throw. Great. Now I'm disappointed that we ran into stronger trainers in this same cave, all while we're getting stronger by virtue of trying to struggle our way out of here. Are we somehow dealing with them out of order in this rather haphazard, constantly retreating attempt to get from one side of the cave to the other? Ugh. And lady, while part of me wants to sympathize with you wanting to get home, the other can't help thinking that there's not much for Jack here to do when he gets home. Just a single mother who will only ever heal our heroes' Pokemon whenever they interact at this point, not even bothering with any kind of small talk with their kid, or any praise for how much he's accomplished within whatever time frame the first generation went through. And he has an NES that Drax still has Super Metroid inside of. You know, in all these years, I've never seen a bit of fan art where a player and his starter play some games on the console in the player character's home. I doubt anyone's ever going to feel inspired enough by this particular playthrough of this particular game, but if anyone with a talent for drawing feels like drawing Phyllis here, either in Bulbasaur or Ivysaur form, playing with an NES controller, that would be pretty amazing in my mind. Okay, if I've got this right, then Phyllis is tied with Nim at the moment, with 45.5 wins on his card. The contest for first place is still up in the air. I wonder if Nim is still gonna be number 1 when we finally retire him from the team. Well, if you want one, then go talk to Professor Oak. I'm pretty sure the guy would appreciate more than 2 people working on his childhood dream of documenting all the Pokemon in existence. Or at least in existence as of the first game when they didn't even know if they were going to be making a sequel, much less become a global phenomenon. Looks like Nim is going to be sweeping this whole team. Of course, it would feel even more impressive if this guy's team was higher level than had 6 members. Ah well, it's not like we can pick our opponents, we just deal with whoever happens to be in our path, and some people are more fun to clash with than others for various reasons. No, for 2 reasons. First, I'm not planning on finishing this or any other decks. And second, I'll probably keep it out of nostalgia even if this first journey is nothing special outside of just being our first. Well, here's hoping whatever bad luck Nim had in that random encounter wore off for this fight. And really, lady? You're going to accuse a kid who's trying to find his way in the dark of doing something possibly perverted? I know battles come at the drop of a hat around here, but come on. At least try to make it sound like the hat that prompted the fight is something a bit more plausible than that. Well, that's certainly a move I have no interest in. Sure, that would make Hyper Fang more powerful, and it's not like I've got a wide variety of moves on them here, but still, I'm not really someone who goes for combo moves. Sure, that makes me a less capable battler, but frankly, we've been doing pretty solidly with my skill set and preferences so far from what I can see. Yeah. There's no way in hell that Clefairy is gonna win this slug out. Doesn't matter how many times you strike us with that kind of exchange rate, you're still getting your ass kicked. That doesn't sound like an apology to me, girl. But then nobody's ever apologized for picking a fight with us around here, probably because the stakes in these fights have been pretty low for the most part. And no, mentioning a Machop in this cave when we've gone this far in is not useful in the least. Hell, how could anyone possibly get this far into the cave without running into at least one anyway? Not really sure it means anything that the girls and boys have different encounter music if they find you before you just talk to them. Mostly because it doesn't matter if a guy or girl goes against us, since in Pokemon battles all that matters is their team composition. Well, that bird certainly didn't stand a chance. As much as I respect the fact that this girl has a team as large as 4, this wouldn't have been a problem for us to deal with even if we were fresh off a beaten surge. Much less when we've been fighting for around an hour after that win. Not much need to take Marble back out of the fight when he hasn't leveled up yet and they haven't even brought him down to yellow. Okay, we've got a 34 on the scorecard for a Scrappy Graveler here. And since we're dealing with a grass type next, I don't think we should go for 35 for him at the moment. She should have probably pulled out that Bellsprout earlier. Granted, that Bellsprout isn't going to have any impact on his own, but still. Okay, maybe he will have more of an impact than I thought. Please don't tell me we're gonna have to go all the way back to the Pokemon Center after this. I think we're closer to the exit at this point than the entrance. But that's more of a guess based on how long the other cave was, really. Hope you had a pleasant nap there, Kohaku. Time to bring your score up to 39. Funny, it doesn't feel like I do, but maybe I just don't have the best perspective of if I play hard or soft. Well, it certainly didn't take us long to find the next trainer down here. I swear, these caves are gauntlets in their own right. Well, if you want to throw money at me, who am I to argue? Well, at least this guy pulled out his grass type just as Marbleback got another win under his belt, assuming a 4-armed rock monster needs a belt. Though now I can't help wondering, what happens to a Graveler's extra pair of arms when it evolves into Golem? Probably not all that important anyway, especially at this point. Really? Kohaku gets put to sleep 2 fights in a row? At least the only offensive move that Oddish has isn't all that damaging to us. Kohaku, please don't fall asleep on me again. At least not in this clip. Despite 2 naps in a short period of time, Kohaku has managed to make it to 40 wins. Hard to call him lazy when he has that kind of score. Still, for him to fall asleep twice in the same recording session probably isn't a good sign. At the very least, the team needs a bit of a break as much as I do. Good thing we're getting close to the end of the clip. Right, that should be the last trainer fight of the clip. And that brings the overall score of trained Pokemon defeated to 262. And again, we have a lot of game left to go through. Anyone want to bet just how high the team's score is going to be by the end of this LP? First off, this is the kind of world where cute and harmless looking things can cause quite a bit of damage if given the chance. So us looking cute and harmless shouldn't have been an immediate sign that, oh, he's going to be easy to take down in this Pokemon battle. And for another thing, how could you see us well enough to make that kind of judgment in here? Is there some kind of special set of goggles that all trainers except the player get when they get their first Pokemon or something? Or is everyone around here part cat, so darkness means little to nothing to them?